You know, we're talking about people that are late bloomers in life. Don't get discouraged. Not everybody evolves as quickly. Second rounder Steven Jackson played in the NBA a long, long time, 14 years. You know, I was talking about Kawhi this morning, and you, in our morning meeting, you were kind of top of mind to me. Is that when you're a young kid, right? Mm-hmm. Some people have supportive parents, some don't. Some have supportive coaches, some don't. Is that it can be very discouraging for a little kid when he sees kids are better at sports at 12 than he is. Some kids get big fast. Wilt Chamberlain was 7 feet in the 9th grade, right? Mm-hmm. Some kids grow differently. You are a classic Kawhi Leonard, that you were a late bloomer, that you evolved differently. But I stack your career up with a lot of guys in the NBA. I love the fact that Brooks Koepka, the golfer, late bloomer. Mm-hmm. Kristen Yelich, the baseball player, late bloomer. Steven Jackson, Kawhi Leonard, late bloomers. Were you ever discouraged in your process thinking, I know I'm good, I'm not getting the love, I'm not getting the offers, I'm not getting the attention?
Yeah, when I went through a situation where after I tried out for like 18 NBA teams and got cut, I was 2 days from making the Bulls roster, and I broke my other foot the day before final cuts.
Oh.
It was my second time breaking my foot, so I was destroyed. I called home crying, and the only thing that got me out of it was my mom saying, so this what you gonna do? You gonna turn into a crybaby? I stopped crying immediately, went home, healed up, bounced back, went overseas, and got back in the NBA the next year.
Isn't that amazing?
God will do it.
You know, Kawhi Leonard, nobody in the West Coast recruited him. Played in San Bernardino, Pac-10 schools not interested. Didn't hit in the NBA till year 4. Do you remember young Kawhi in San Antonio?
Yes, I do. Before I got there, I knew a little bit about him, but I didn't know he was going to be this. And I knew Pop felt like he found a diamond in the rough, like he did with me. I was second to last pick in the draft, and Pop saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. So I felt like he did the same thing with Kawhi, and it turned out to be true.
Yeah. Are you surprised how great he is?
No, because after meeting him and being around him for almost 2 years, all he talked about was being one of the best ever. You know, when he came over to my house, which Pop didn't like, they didn't like him hanging out with me because they thought I was being a negative influence. But all we talked about was basketball and being great, and that's all he focused on, was wanting to be one of the best to ever play this game, and that's all he talked about.
You know, I'm critical of Russell Westbrook. I did say to Joy, I don't think OKC's been as brilliantly run as I've been lectured for a decade. I think they've missed on some players, and they were late to the 3-ball. But this is no good. On Instagram, Randy Williams, a guy you know, is KD's buddy and business partner. This has now been up 4 days. Nobody's taken it down. On Instagram, he said, nobody wants to play with Russ. This is KD's buddy. Everybody blames everybody else except him. When it comes to the Thunder losing, people have bad basketball mixed up with loyalty. Russ is about Russ. He's more worried about stats versus playing winning basketball. Everybody can say what they want, but owners and GMs in the NBA know the real about Russell and his style of play. That's KD's guy. That's KD's friend. If KD didn't like that, he'd tell him to take it down, wouldn't he?
Right, he would.
What do you make of that?
Well, Randy's a smart guy. I got a lot of respect for him. He's been around the game. He's been around OKC. And you have to respect his opinion to a certain extent. But we have to talk about the flip side of it. He was never in that locker room. He was never on that bench. He was never on that court. So he actually never went through a lot of the stuff that he's probably saying. Some of the stuff he's probably seen from being in OKC, but a lot of stuff he's probably heard from somebody else. You know, me personally, I wouldn't feel that way. And I'm an actual NBA player. I think a lot of guys look at it like how I look at it. If you have a guy, there's so many guys that don't care about the game, that don't show the passion for the game. If I can get a guy like Russ that can average a triple-double and that plays the game, I've never heard James, KD, or any other teammate, Paul, any of them say, I can't play with Russ. I've never heard no one say that. Nobody has. And I was on the team when they had all 3 of those guys. I was on the Spurs team. We was up 2-0. They came back and beat us 4 games straight to win the Western Conference Finals. Sam Presti did a bad job of not keeping that team together. They was more worried about keeping Serge Ibaka and Nick Collison. If they would have not been loyal to those guys, they could have kept James, Russ, and KD together. They did a bad job at that. That team that came back and beat us 4 games straight was a special team. And you can't blame everything on Russ. I don't think it's that players don't want to play with him, because you talk to Kendrick Perkins about him. Kendrick loves him, one of his favorite teammates. when you got a guy like that can average a triple-double for 3 years straight, it's hard seeing somebody who wants to win saying you don't want to play with a guy like that.
No, first of all, this is very fair. For all the criticisms, let me say this about Russ Westbrook. He's one of the few guys I'd pay to see. He plays his butt off every night. The other thing is I don't think OKC's as brilliantly run as we're told. Number 4 is Kevin Durant's quirky.
Right.
He just dumped Steph Curry.
Right.
So we can't blame KD leaving all on Russ because KD now just left Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, who are supposed to be the best guys in the league. So it's not all on Russ. I don't think he always plays winning basketball, and I think he's kind of rigid. He's got a style, but I think your point's very fair. That I can take an anvil to Russ today, and I do think he's difficult. But it's not all on Russ.
It can't be.
It can't be. They had a dream team. They had an Olympic team of talent. They were late to the 3-ball. They butchered the Harden move. Mm-hmm. To your point, they seem to like players more where the game was moving away from bigs. Even now, they went and got a college coach. And I got nothing against Billy Donovan, but that historically is not.
Don't fit.
Generally in the NBA, it's a slow fit. Tarkanian was a disaster.
Right.
Lon Kruger didn't work. This has been. I think he's an okay coach. So I think your point's very fair. We can all take it. You play hard in sports. There's a lot of guys in this league
that don't.
There's a new term in the NBA. It's called load management. Russ Westbrook doesn't do load management.
And then too, the good thing about Russ is you don't have to put a battery in his back. Like, you don't have to worry about if he's showing up. You can rely on him. And there's not many guys that you can rely on in this game today.
Okay, so I want to talk about yesterday I listened to LA radio a lot because I wanted everybody's local opinion on who was better. And listen, I think with the Clippers, I have good chemistry, good momentum, good coach, great GM, great front office, good owner, and I just slid in two-way players. Mm-hmm. I've seen that work my whole life.
Right.
And a lot of veterans. And on the Lakers, I got a new coach and Jason Kidd looking over his shoulder. LeBron's changing positions. AD's been injured. A lot of specialists and one young guy, Kyle Kuzma. Mm-hmm. I look at the Lakers' age. Regular season, Stephen, are about young legs. And then the playoffs start, and Pascal Siakam take a little back seat to Marc Gasol, right? Mm-hmm. I look at the Lakers, and you got a lot of old guys. And my question becomes, in the West, injury here, injury there, Lakers look up and they're a 6 seed, 2 back-to-back road series. I said it yesterday, the Lakers are a great movie poster. I don't know if they're a great movie. Are they a great team?
On paper, they look decent. They look good enough to win a championship, especially with adding Boogie. But at the end of the day, you have to go out there and win it. You know, anytime you win a championship, the basketball guards have to be in your favor. When we won it in 2003, Dirk got hurt in the Western Conference Finals for Dallas. Last year with Kawhi, look how many wounded teams he ended up playing against.
By the way, Chris Paul got hurt, saved the Warriors.
You see what I'm saying?
This year, Durant, Clay, Looney got hurt, saved the Raptors.
You got the basketball guards. When you win a championship, a lot of things go your way. And guys stay healthy. A lot of things go your way to win a championship. And you can look at teams now and you can say, well, they got the roster and all that, but a lot of things factor into a season. You know, chemistry, injury, a lot of stuff. Guys start to pout on their game time and shots. All kind of stuff happen like that.
The Lakers got a lot of guys that are used to playing big minutes, and they got like 9 guys now that play. Avery Bradley doesn't want to sit. Danny Green doesn't want to sit. Rondo doesn't want to sit.
Right.
JaVale McGee's a good player. Boogie Cousins. I find the Lakers to be there's a lot of ifs there. It looks like it. The other thing you point out is Lakers got a lot of guys who have had injuries.
Yes.
Clippers don't.
No, they don't. And the Clippers might be the best defensive team as far as guards in the league. You got Pat Beverly, Paul, and Kawhi. It's going to be hard to score on those 3 guys. That's special.
Yeah. So, interesting. So, when I get all the rumors about Russell Westbrook, a lot of teams that need to sell tickets, you know, like Detroit wants him. Mm-hmm. And Miami's not a great team. I get most of the teams I hear. The Knicks. Mm-hmm. And then I hear the Rockets with Westbrook. And I think to myself, A, it doesn't fit. And B, do the Rockets, are they a little desperate here? Has the window closed for them?
Well,
Are they selling tickets with Russ or trying to win games?
Russ and James look good together when they were together. I'm sorry. They look real together. I think the worst part with OKC, you tried to bring the Spurs organization to a team that don't have Tim Duncan. You can't do that, okay? It's working in Philadelphia because they have Embiid when you want to take the Spurs style and kind of run with it. It didn't work for OKC with Sam Presti, but
I think this thing would work?
I like James and Russ. It all matters what you put around them. Same thing with KD and AD. It matters what you put around them. You know these two guys are going to show up and do their job. What can you put around them? And that's been the biggest thing, the biggest problem with the NBA the last couple of years. Who is scouting these players? Like, who do you have going to look at players and look at talent? And that's been a lot of stuff that a lot of veteran players and retired players have been talking about. Who is scouting these guys these days? Who are picking these players?
You like Westbrook, James Harden, Chris Paul?
I like all those guys, period.
Together?
But I like Russ and James together. Chris Paul won't be there if Russ is there. They can't keep both of them.
Well, they can't afford both of them.
Right. It'll be a trade. It definitely have to be a trade.
All right, Steven Jackson. By the way, we haven't talked about this. Kevin Durant is not going to play for a year. So Kevin tends to have, and it's okay, he's a little sensitive. So he's not going to play for a year. And he's going to rehab for a year. You've rehabbed before. And you just sit around and you watch your phone all day. The next year for Kevin Durant. Seriously.
In New York.
And by the way, the LA teams are both good, and there's all these emerging stars. How do you think Kevin Durant handles the next year staring at his phone, not playing?
Doing his show. Being able to do his little board show. He got boardroom show. I'm sure he'll be doing that to stay in tune to the game and to speak his opinion of the game. But at the end of the day, I honestly think KD is going to be working hard to get back on that court to come back and prove everybody wrong again. You know, I don't know why he has to keep continuing like he's not one of the best players in the world. He's continued to feel like he have to prove something to people, but you know. I don't think it'll be what people think he'll be in the media and stirring up stuff. I think he'll just be focused on getting back and being healthy. Because it's a new situation, and if he don't come out and play well, this thing can go downhill.
Oh, no, it can go downhill fast. Kyrie's not the easiest guy in the world to play with. A lot of expectations. East is good. West is packed. It's funny.
But you having Kyrie on your team,
you like it.
You're confident.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.